G'day, it's fugitive Australian journalist Shane Dowling from the website kangaroocourtofaustralia.com. Now, Shane Drumgold's lawsuit against the ACT government and the ACT inquiry was set down for a directions hearing today. And while it was only a directions hearing, there was some interesting elements that came out of it. And I'm going to run through them because he's suing the ACT government and the ACT inquiry for handing down a dodgy report by Walter Sofronoff, the former corrupt Queensland judge, who deliberately leaked it before he gave it to the government, which is a crime in itself. And he did that to conspire with the Rupert Murdoch's News Corp to protect the Liberal Party, because Shane Drumgold was a whistleblower. He's in effect blowing the whistle on the conspiracy of the government to cover up the alleged rape of Brittany Higgins by Bruce Luhrmann. There's one thing that governments hate, and that's whistleblowers. So we'll have a look at what came out of today's directions hearing. Now, firstly, Walter Sofronoff was represented by a lawyer, Glenn Cranny, and the reason being is because Shane Drumgold is suing the ACT inquiry, which Walter Sofronoff was a chairperson. So, in effect, he's being sued as well. And so he's representing the inquiry as a chairperson, and he has a lawyer there representing him. Now, Shane Drumgold was also suing the ACT Attorney General, Shane Rattenbury, but he's dropped that. Now, Shane Drumgold's lawyers today asked the court to make some interim orders in relation to the hearing to sort of try and move it along a bit. But Walter Sofronoff's lawyers argued against it. And exactly what those orders were, I'm not too sure. But one interesting aspect is always going to be, who is Shane Drumgold going to subpoena to give evidence, and what records is he going to subpoena? Is he going to subpoena phone records from journalists, etc.? Who knows? Now, one of the reasons Walter Sofronoff's lawyers argued against the interim orders, or the orders being issued at this point, is because he argued that they're still determining his position on some issues and working with the lawyers for the ACT government to understand whether he's afforded indemnity. Now, if he gave the report to the government publishers, Walter Sofronoff would have automatically had indemnity from being sued. But because he leaked it to two journalists, well, one journalist really, before he gave it to the government, the question's got to be, does he have indemnity? Can he be sued for defamation? Is he protected? Now, Walter Sofronoff's lawyer, Glenn Cranny, he asked for the case to be expedited to this year. Apparently it's set down for next year. Not real happy about that. And obviously they want it expedited to this year so they can get it over and done with, because until it's actually dealt with, Walter Sofronoff's reputation is on the line, and he's basically on hold because no one would want to go anywhere near him, because he's leaked a report before he gave it to the government, and that's a criminal offence. Now, they're bringing in an interstate judge, Stephen Kay, from the Victorian Supreme Court to hear the matter. The reason being is because Shane Drumgold was a Director of Public Prosecutions for the ACT, and he obviously knew most of the lawyers and barristers and the judges as well. So there's a bit of a conflict of interest there when he has a relationship with them all. Now, Shane Drumgold was represented today by Terry O'Gorman, who's a Queensland lawyer. So that was interesting. He's a very high-profile lawyer, Terry O'Gorman. You can Google him and see his background there yourself. But why would he go for a Queensland lawyer? I'm not too sure. Was it too big a conflict for him to get a ACT lawyer to represent him? Who knows? Now, the ACT Supreme Court have set up a online file, so I'll be able to go on there and get all the files as soon as they're published, which I find is interesting, given it's a case about leaking. They obviously felt, well, we may as well put it on the court's file so all the journalists are equal, because they knew everything was going to be leaked anyhow. Now, the matter is set down again for next Thursday, September the 28th, whether it's just going to be a registrar dealing with it, or whether the judge, Stephen Kay, is actually going to deal with it over the phone or over video link. I'm not too sure. We'll find out next week. And maybe some orders will be the initial orders that Shane Drumgold wanted today. Will be issued next week. Who knows? But one last thing, Jeanette Albertson for the Australian. I've seen an article she wrote yesterday, just total dribble, full of lies, deception and deceit. She has no self-respect. He was arguing, the ACT Supreme Court and the ACT Bar Association, they failed in their duties. They meant to take action against Shane Drumgold. It was in the Walter Sofronoff report. Well, the Walter Sofronoff report is in effect being appealed. So the ACT Supreme Court and the ACT Bar Association shouldn't take any action against Shane Drumgold, especially when Walter Sofronoff illegally leaked it to. And who did he leak it to? Jeanette Albertson. So anything you read from her has zero credibility. She is in effect a co-conspirator to a criminal offence of leaking that report. She definitely conspired with Walter Sofronoff to have that report leaked to her so she could start publishing it and make sure all other media published it and focused on Shane Drumgold as well. But by leaking it, it denied Shane Drumgold natural justice and it forced him to resign. But as someone else has also pointed out, by leaking it, she's denied Shane Drumgold the potential to have it quashed and never published in the first place, because he's taken action to have it quashed because it was so disgusting and so biased by Walter Sofronoff. He attacked Shane Drumgold but defended the corrupt police. And he could have potentially taken legal action, so it was suppressed, taken legal action and had it quashed, and so it was never published. But Walter Sofronoff conspired with Jeanette Albertson, a journalist or propagandist with Rupert Murdoch's Australian, to make sure it was published so that way it could never be quashed. And another co-conspirator is Samantha Maiden from the News Corp. Walter Sofronoff, in a letter to the ACT government, pointed out that Samantha Maiden published an article from the report before the report was given to the government. So if you're reading any articles from Jeanette Albertson or Samantha Maiden, read them with a grain of salt or bucket of salt. And this matter is back in court next Thursday, 28th of September, and I'll probably do a follow-up video then. And Kangaroo Court of Australia's independent media. I publish a website and YouTube channel, and I'm 100% crowdfunded from viewers like yourself, so please support my Patreon account. We currently have 322 patrons donating $2,124 a month, and I really need to double that to become financially viable, so if you could support that, it'd be greatly appreciated. You can donate any amount, $3, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30, $40, $50 a month, whatever suits your budget, and you can find the link for the Patreon account below this video on YouTube and also on my website. And please share this video on social media. Thank you for your time and have a good day.